Hello everyone, how are you? Today we're looking at the newly released 10-year-old version of Dead Rising. Yes, it's been 10 years since the Dead Rising original came out on Xbox 360, and it's finally been ported to PC. It's available via Steam and all the other outlets that you can get it from, Green Man Gaming, GOG, everything like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the options, more or less the graphic settings, because that's what everybody's really wondering about. And then we're going to jump in and see how it performs. I can tell you, I'm really happy with this port. It's one of the best ports for an older game that I think I've played. And coming from Capcom, that's actually something that's pretty rare, considering, Dead Rising 3 and the problems that had. So let's go ahead and we're going to jump right into the graphic settings here. I'm playing at 1920 by 1080. It does support up to 4K resolution, and it runs great. And it does support high refresh rates. My monitor's only 60 hertz, but it does go up to 120, 144. So if you have a higher refresh rate monitor, you can go ahead and play it at whatever refresh rate you want, especially if you can overclock your monitor. And if you have, like those nicer gaming monitors, quote unquote, that support the high resolution, high refresh rate. You have your full screen on or off. No borderless window, but full screen doesn't seem to cause any issues, minus the whole desktop scaling if you have multiple monitors, but I can look past that. VSync on and off, pretty standard there. Anti-aliasing, you have off and then up to MSAA times 8. So if you want anything other than MSAA, which is pretty cost intensive, but doesn't seem to hurt the frames that much, you could try and force something through your drivers. We have shadow quality that goes off, low, medium, high. Anisotropic filtering, no reason you shouldn't have that at 16 times unless you're playing on a processor, no discrete graphics. Frame rate, you can set the 30, 60, or variable. I keep it a variable because I want that high frame rate even though I'm only playing at 60 hertz. Helps it so it doesn't dip as much. Motion blur, again, I'd keep it off. I don't know why you'd want it on, but hey, if you want it on, that's your prerogative. Brightness adjustment. And that's really it for graphics settings. Not a whole lot here, but like I said, it's an older game, and it runs great. So I really can't ask for much more, because the technology that's in a lot of the newer games really wasn't around when the engine was built for this game, so I can't really blame them on that. You can try and force some things through your graphics drivers if you want to, but that's on you. We're going to take a look at the options here. Not a whole lot, but you do have your background music, your sound effect volume, subtitles. You can turn the tutorial on and off. I have it off. I know how to play this game. Vibration for controller. It does have full controller support. You can change your aiming style, so arcade or classic. I keep it on classic. I'm not sure what arcade is. Maybe I'll try and change it in game. Then you have your view and camera direction, or I'm sorry, player and camera direction for your aiming. I keep it on camera because it's kind of like a little bit of an aimbot when you aim at something and he automatically shoots at the head. So we're going to jump back here, and I'm going to jump into the game, and we're going to take a look at it. Alright, so here we are, back in Dead Rising, back at the mall, back where it all started. I'm a couple hours into the game. I've been playing it here and there. I've rescued a couple people. I'm playing with some cheats on right now just because I have not played a Dead Rising game in so long that it's just easier to record with cheats on. So as you can see, with a lot of zombies and blood spraying around and everything like that, the frame rate remains high. I was over 160 frames per second there. I'm going to go down into the mall here, and we're going to take a look at the frame rate where there's a ton of zombies on screen. But I can tell you what, this game is so well optimized when they brought it over to PC. I'm actually very happy with what they've done to it. So let's go ahead here into the mall. So as you can see here, it's your standard Dead Rising. They really haven't changed that much. Pamela's getting her ass kicked by a big group of zombies here. We'll go ahead and save her. Whoop. So as I'm chopping through all these zombies, my frames are staying above 100 FPS. And that's amazing. You know, this game never really ran well on the Xbox 360. So it's awesome that they were able to port it in such a way that we aren't getting frame drops. Now, I was playing at 4K earlier, and with a ton of zombies on screen, I was getting some stuttering. It wasn't frame rate dropping, but it was definitely freezing. It was almost like a micro stutter. So it's hard to say what's going on there. It could have just been because I was hitting a lot of zombies at once and the game couldn't keep up, or maybe it's not optimized for something like that. But hey, the game runs well at 4K even, so I think I didn't drop below 80 FPS on two GTX 980s at 8 times MSAA, so I'm not complaining there. So let's go ahead and we're gonna grab these guys here. So like I said, Dead Rising came out. She took my chainsaw. Give that back. Dead Rising came out 10 years ago for the original Xbox 360. It was way ahead of its time. Stuck. It was way ahead of its time as far as the number of zombies you had on screen, the interactivity, how big the map was. And, you know, it is showing its age a little bit as far as how the loading screens are. There's a lot of loading screens. Luckily, they're very quick, especially on an SSD. I have a Samsung 850. It makes it very fast, very zippy. Zombies, there is a little bit of pop-in as far as that goes. You can see here that looking off into the distance, there's zombies there, but past that, like in the movie theater area, there isn't a whole lot of zombies showing up. But as I get closer here, you'll see them start to pop in. See? But you know what? I'm okay with that. I almost wish that there could have been a adjustment to allow for zombies to be further out. But I could probably see that as an engine limitation. The engine is 10 years old. So I could understand them not having those settings, like I said, when we were looking at the graphics options. Now, I'm not sure as far as the actual number of zombies on screen, if that's been increased. I'd have to look into that. I actually didn't check. I saw this came out and immediately bought it just because I loved the original Dead Rising, and it never got old. I remember playing it, you know, night after night. It actually freaked me out a whole bunch because we would have my friends and I would be over at each other's houses, and we'd get all freaked out because of the zombies. It was very Dawn of the Dead-esque. So what really astounds me with Dawn of the Dead, with Dead Rising, is it's kind of alone in a genre. It's really what started this whole zombie survival craze, and I really don't think any other game, even the newer Dead Risings, albeit Dead Rising 2 was pretty well made, have captured this sense of being stranded in a mall and having to fend for yourself and save others with crazy weapons. And I think they did an amazing job restoring it. Now, they didn't increase textures, they didn't add any extra flair or anything, but ultimately it comes down to the core experience, and Dead Rising's Dead Rising. And they did a great job remastering it. And I can only hope that the new Dead Rising that they just announced is going to be as good, if not better, than the first Dead Rising. Pamela's stuck out here. She's slow. Let's get her inside. But that being said, I'm really happy that this came out to be a good port. Dead Rising is one of those cornerstones of gaming where it sets itself aside from other parts of the genre by being unique, by being quirky. No other Dead Rising game has managed to match how the little quirks and intricacies of the original Dead Rising. Dead Rising 2 was silly, you know, you could go and beat down zombies with marital aids, but that wasn't, it just didn't have the same feeling to it that the Dead Rising of, you know, the Xbox 360 had, especially when you're looking at weapon diversity and the feeling of experiencing a open world game where you can pretty much go anywhere and use anything as a weapon. And you really don't see that in games much anymore. And I think that it really speaks volumes for Capcom that they would go ahead and port something forward like this and bring it out for people to enjoy. Because I never owned an Xbox 360 myself. I always had a, you know, PS2, PS3, PS4. My friends owned Xbox 360, and like I said, I would always go over to their houses and play it, and it was a great experience then. So, I mean, I'm really glad that they decided to bring this game out, and I think that if you are a fan of Dead Rising or you're looking for something different to play, and you just have a little bit of time, you want to jump into something, that you should check this out, because it's like $20 on Steam. And you just get so much content, and it's just a ton of fun. And the story's there, and you can just do whatever you want, really. You know, there's the 72-hour campaign mode, and then if you complete that, you get the free-for-all mode. But then there's another mode that I'm unfamiliar with, and you can just run around and cut zombies in half and kill psychopaths, and it's a rip-roaring family good time. So I think that you should check it out. I'll throw a link in the description to where you can buy it. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.